Canfield Local School Board is about to begin. I want to welcome everyone here. It's really good to see so many people interested in the education that occurs here at Canfield. Would you please rise, say the Pledge of Allegiance back there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go back to roll call.
Mr. Jordan, our first item of business here is public.
Is the roll call.
That's exactly right. Okay.
Mr. Bova, President.
Here.
Mr. Olson, Vice President.
Here.
Mr. Fry.
Present.
Mrs. Lasich. Here. Mr. Tanzer.
Here.
We are looking for public input as far as reemployment of Sherry Creighton, CHS business teacher, Mary Lou Thacker, CVMS grade 6 teacher, Nancy Julia, CVMS art teacher. For those of you who don't understand why we are doing this, it is state law that when somebody gets reemployed that we have a hearing, and right now we have a hearing. Would anyone like to speak? Okay. Principals reports. Don't all come up here at once.
Canfield Village Middle School, we've had a lot going on in the last month. We met under the direction of John Tullio last week for the Teaching and Learning Committee to further discuss evaluating the non-OTES staff for upcoming years. And we also talked, that was with the Evaluation Review Committee. The Teaching and Learning Committee, we're continuing to discuss math options and research math programs moving into the future. Building leadership team and grade level meetings. At the building, we will continue to meet frequently. Now that we're wrapping up round 1 of our testing, we are going to meet as a staff, see what went well, what we need to adjust, and make decisions for second round of testing, and how we can best test our kids while minimizing the impact to instruction. We're continuing to meet with grade levels and contents on a consistent basis to further our vertical and horizontal alignment to the standards. And we are already starting our scheduling process for next year. We're working with the high school to transition our 8th graders into 9th grade, and we're going to continue to expand upon that process and improve that process to make sure that we have a nice bridge for them going from the middle to the high school. And we are continuing to evolve our programs, and we'll continue to do this to maximize 21st century learning skills. So we want to make all of our classes relevant as far as skill for our kids. Technology and next generation testing. The Chromebooks were great for round 1. They worked. Once we got through a couple of little glitches and figured things out, they worked wonderfully, and we were able to test 500 kids at a time. So that helped to minimize the impact on instruction. Patrice Lurie, our counselor, and Tamara Butler, our psychologist, were instrumental in implementing this. We couldn't have done it without them. As the days progressed, we were able to efficiently troubleshoot and work as a team to triage things that came up, and the kids were wonderful throughout the process. They're very resilient, and they got through it and did a great job. So proud of our staff. The CVMS staff was so prepared and professional in researching and implementing practices for the kids without making the kids feel stressed about the upcoming tests. And we were very proud of them, and I can't give them enough accolades for that. Please continue, anyone in here, if parents have questions about testing, there's a lot of rumors that go around, and I want to make sure that people are equipped with all of the facts from all sides, and I'd be happy and encourage two-way dialogue. Please call, you're welcome to come in, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. And give you an objective answer to the questions that you have. We will be hosting a parent informational meeting or forum in between testing windows so that parents, now that they're familiar with what's going on a little bit in the school as far as the testing, we want to make sure that as we go through that we're providing enough venues for them to be able to ask questions and address any concerns they have.
Some of the public relations, parents' newsletter will be sent home early next week.
to help parents understand the testing, continue to make positive phone calls home on almost on a daily basis, just to encourage parents, how well their kids are doing at the school. And we're working with the staff, the communication through testing, so they're up with current events. Staff and student life, we had 2 students make it to Math Count State Tournament. Jessica Lee competed in the Vineyard at Stoneby. She was 2nd place. Students have a positive attitude and tried really hard on the first round test. It was amazing to see the kids. We will participate in Hoops for Heart next month. Students versus staff basketball is part of it. And we will do a student-staff volleyball fundraiser after testing.
Thank you. At Hilltop and also C.H. Campbell, since Mr. Lyer's not here, we kind of echo each other a lot. First of all, I want to thank the staff at Hilltop Elementary School. We had a little water main break issue today, and our staff used that as an opportunity to show how flexible and adaptable they are and still able to provide a positive educational experience for our kids throughout the day. So I want to thank them, thank our students just for weathering through a tough day. As far as building management, Hilltop teachers continue to meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays to work through our building goals, curriculum map, analyze data. We're looking forward to any data that we get from our recent park test when that data eventually comes out. Our building leadership team will begin an annual review of our handbooks, our schedule, and overall building operations to see how we can improve for the 2015-2016 school year. 3rd grade teachers will begin meeting on March 30th to develop a new standards-based report card for grade 3. Students in grade 2 have had a standards-based report card since kindergarten, so when they move from grade 2 to grade 3, they will continue with that process of having a standards-based report card. Several of us will be traveling to Independence, Ohio on Monday, March 23rd for a 3rd grade reading guarantee regional meeting to see if there are any changes or updates to the 3rd grade reading guarantee. February and March so far have been filled with testing. Our 4th grade students took the PARC performance-based assessments in English language arts on February 25th through 27th. They took the AIR social studies assessment on March 5th. And they took the PARC mathematics assessments on March 10th and 11th. So a lot of testing on our 4th graders. Our 3rd graders took the PARC assessments in mathematics on March 3rd and 4th. And we are currently finishing up our makeup exams. Those should be completed tomorrow. And we will be done with round 1 of the PBAs. Stakeholder communication. The March Hilltopper was sent home to all parents on March 2nd. Interim reports were sent home with students on February 20th. The end of the 3rd grading period is coming up here on March 27th, and report cards will be sent home prior to spring break on Thursday, April 2nd. Some other things upcoming at Hilltop. March 19th through 27th is our Scholastic Book Fair, with next Thursday night being our KISS event, Kids Invite Someone Special. There's going to be, I can't remember the guy's name, I think it's Jungle Jim or something like that, who's bringing some animals, a chinchilla and a snake, and Jungle Terry, thank you. Forgot what it was. And somehow they broke me into holding a giant boa constrictor snake. So you do things for kids. Thursday, March 26th is our 1st grade Grandparents' Day. That's at 1:15. Our grandparents are invited to see our kids provide a musical program of music from around the world. April 1st, we have a Healthy Foods Assembly at 2 o'clock. Thursday, April 2nd is our annual Fun in the Sunday. And lastly, we are looking forward to a little bit of time off. Spring break is April 3rd through April 12th. And thank you for your time this evening.
Good evening, everybody. I'm going to start off with just a kind of a list here of the accomplishments of our students of the last month. It's pretty extensive, so I'm trying my best to read this, and it's not going to be very casual, but it's important to recognize our great students. Firstly, our art department is really proud of some award winners. The Scholastic Art Competition national medalist in the Ohio Governor State Youth Art Exhibition. Tara Rogers received a national gold medal for her piece, The Handyman's Canvas, in the national judging of the Scholastic Art Competition, so that's quite an honor. She'll be attending the ceremony in New York City at Carnegie Hall. So what an accomplishment there. In the Governor's Youth Art Exhibition, Candace Smith won a place in the top 25 for her piece, White Umbrella. She received the Governor's Award of Excellence. This is the first time for Canfield High School that a student has made it into the top 25. So we're really proud of that. Bonnie Anderson also won a place in the show for 2 of her pieces, Blue Summer and Plastic Meltdown. All 3 pieces will be headed to Columbus to be displayed in the show. Other students that qualified for judging, we had Lauren Adams, Bonnie Anderson, Kaylee Love, Nick Palermo, Candace Smith, and Nagmita Sharista. And she also is, if you go on our webpage right now, she did a Christmas card design to win a $10,000 scholarship. And if you vote for her every day, she has a chance to win that scholarship. She's a finalist in that. Something to add. Academic Challenge Team, they attained national championship qualification. And the varsity team placed 3rd, and the JV team took 2nd at the Mahoney Quiz Bowl tournament this past weekend. Individual recognition, Cooper Johnson received an award for 100 points or more in a game, and for being named to the All-League First Team. Alec Kahn received honorable mention for First Team in All-League. So a great accomplishment there for our Quiz Bowl team. Some JV recognition members, Carson Markley received an award for 100 points or more, and Carson and Max Lee both being named JV All-Star team members. So incredible. Congratulations to Coach Smotrilla and all of our students on the academic Quiz Bowl team. Also, non-athletic event here, but our band and choirs both received superior ratings in their contest, district contest this past weekend, and they'll be heading on to state competition very soon. Additionally, our wrestling team has had a great season this year. They took 8th place overall in Division II in the state of Ohio. We had freshman Matt Cardello finished 8th. George Paulus finished 6th. Freshman David Crawford finished 6th. And Jake Sarko finished 4th in the state this year. So big weekend for Canfield High School, to say the least. This was all this past weekend. And kind of a cherry on the Sunday, special recognition to junior bowler Andrew Lesher. He bowled a 6:36 set and took 3rd place in the state this past weekend. Finally, 2 shorter things here. Our boys basketball team finished up 2nd in the district. They fought a tough battle against Poland at Harding last weekend. We congratulate them and Coach Muckleroy. And our girls basketball team ended the season as well. All 5 teams, 7th, 8th, freshman, JV, and varsity, all won league titles this year. So we're really proud of the accomplishments of our students and our coaching and advising staff at the high school. They've had quite a month here over the last 30 or so days.
As far as academically, just one spotlight. We like to spotlight a department each week. We're going to start doing that. And we're going to spotlight our English department this month. And it's amazing, and Board, you have a copy of some of these things. For me to go through individually would be difficult, but how they utilize technology in the classroom is simply amazing. Things like Google Classroom, Google Docs. There's an application called Socrative, which is used as a formative assessment, where you instantly get responses from students in the class, and the students are all using their smartphones, their cell phones. And it's just amazing how this young group of teachers has grasped onto technology, which will help students when they go to college, because I have 3 daughters, 2 of them are still in college, and it's amazing how many things they have to do online. They take assessments online, they work online, and their teachers in college are insisting, and these colleges are now insisting that their knowledge of online work is up to par. There are things called WebQuest. There's an online book page that gives students access to thousands of books online. There's a 20,000 title free digital library. A ton of different things. But again, kudos to our English department for using this. And for you all look a lot younger than I do, but when you were in high school, you might have had to write a paper. Even Mr. Cancer was writing papers, I'm sure. And now when you write papers, kids are at home. They're on Google Classroom. They're writing the paper. The teacher is at home and is watching the kid write the paper and making comments right with this Google Classroom. It is quite amazing. But kudos to our English department, because they've really taken this to heart and done a great job with it. So trying to prepare our kids for the next century of learning and how things are taught. Fantastic. This weekend, Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m., Drama Department. Under the direction of Regina Reynolds, who's our school nurse, they're going to put on a spring play. It's called A Night of One Acts, and it features 3 little vignettes where you'll get to see our kids perform. It's tremendous. We are in the middle of test week at the high school. So we're OGT testing every morning with over 250 kids testing, and at the same time, we're park testing. in the media center and in also the study hall. I can't begin to tell you the amount of time and effort put in by our guidance department. And again, special kudos goes out to Candy Reed, who is our district test coordinator. The work she has done has been, for her to jump into this position new, just tremendous. She's just done a great job. Park testing the first day was we had a few glitches also technology-wise, but it's really progressed and it's been very, very smooth the rest of this week. On a lighter note, PTO, Ellen Bennett and Tracy DeCapua got our kids cookies last week. It was Student Appreciation Day, so I got a smiley cookie. And our next project after this park testing is over, of course, is to create a master schedule and to schedule our kids into classes. In the past few years, through the leadership of Mr. Tullio, we've really beefed up a lot of our high-level classes, our AP classes and things like that, and that certainly is a credit to him and the work that we all did at the high school. But now we're emphasizing beefing up our electives for the kind of the average Canfield kind of student. Maybe the kids, they're going to college, but there's a lot of new electives that are available that are kind of exciting. I'll give you an example. We're trying to create a forensics class where kids can study, that's a big thing now in the TV shows and the police shows and things like that. The kids are really excited. We're working very hard to do that. I've talked long enough. That's what's going on here. Who's next? Are we done? I think we're done.
I think we're done, and one thing you failed to do, administrators, these are building administrators. We have a lot of people here that may not know you, so could you start with you, Mike?
Yeah, I'm Mike Moldavon. I'm the principal at the high school.
I'm Dave Mullane. I'm the assistant principal at the high school.
Michael Flood, assistant principal at the middle school.
Mara Banfield, principal of the middle school.
Joe Maroney, principal of Hilltop Elementary School.
And you can see that they're color coordinated, and they forgot to call Mr. Jordan and tell him what to wear.
Usually dark is the color.
Yeah. Thank you very much for taking the time. Are we going to excuse them, or are we going to make them stay?
They can go.
They can
Yeah,
go.
if you don't mind.
Thank you.
One more caveat. We just got word, water line fixed, done, water's on. They're flushing the system out at Hilltop Elementary, so we'll be good to go tomorrow.
If you didn't know, we had a water main break.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have the treasurer's report. Ms. Kestner.
First, if we could approve the minutes from February 11th.
Okay, and why are we doing that?
Why are we
Why
doing
don't
that?
we read them?
Because you have them ahead of time, and our board policy says
States
that we don't
that
read
we
them.
don't do that, yes.
But they are available online.
Yes, they are. Do we have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second. Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
The financial reports, I do not have any comment on the fund balance report unless you have any questions. The appropriation report, we are 8 out of 12 months into the year, and that is 67% of the year passed, and we have spent and encumbered 68%, so we're right on target with the budget that was adopted last fall. The check payment register, I'd like to point out a couple. On page 2, about the middle of the page, Millcraft paper for $20,790. This was a second truckload of paper this year. Normally we only purchase one, but the first one was purchased, I believe, in July, and so we had to purchase another one to get us through the end of the year. So, a lot of paper. Page 3, at the top, District Board of Health for $1,700. This is our annual food license renewal that we're required. Not sure if anybody knew we had to do that or not.
Does that cover all?
All buildings, yeah. And then on page 4, Soundcom systems, about 10 items down, $19,000. This is one of the payments on the high school PA system. We've talked a lot about that in previous meetings. So, any questions on any other checks? If not, I'll move to the purchase order. report, the new items start on page 9, about the middle of the page. And then if you go to page 11, Wenger Corporation, about 6 items down for $2,400. These are new risers for middle school choir, and this is the majority of it's being paid by the choir fundraiser from this past year. And on page 12, the bottom, second from the bottom, Bud Sign Shop for $1,275. This is replacing the sign at the top of Cardinal Drive in 224 that was damaged in an automobile accident, and outside insurance is paying for that. So I don't believe that's up yet, is it? You'll see a new sign there soon. Any questions on any purchase orders? And there's nothing new on the investment report. Same investments as previous month and pretty much same rates on the money market accounts. Need a motion to approve the reports if there's no other questions.
Do I hear a motion to approve the reports?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? I have one question for you. Are we monitoring our energy usage since we no longer are part of a program?
Yeah, I keep track of that every month. The gas, the electric, the water. If you want to come in and take a look at those reports, I'm happy to share them with you.
For those in the audience that don't know what we're doing here, these are mailed to us, and we have these on hand and are able to peruse them before we walk in here. Roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanser?
Yes.
Mr. Bova?
Yes. Next on our agenda is Student Resolutions 86 through 99, and we are recognizing students for their accomplishments, and Mr. Tanser will read those.
Canfield Board of Local Education, Resolution 86 through 99. Whereas Ryan D. Thomas was selected from more than 1,000 applicants to perform at the 2015 Ohio Music Education Association All-State Honor Orchestra and earned Assistant Principal Chair, and whereas Brandon Falkingham was named First Team All-Greater Cleveland High School Hockey League, whereas Sarah Heaven was named First Team All-AAC in Girls Swimming, Teresa Michelet was named First Team All-AAC in Girls Swimming, Maggie Beastel was named First Team in All-AA Girls Swimming, Rachel Williams was named First Team All-AAC in Girls Swimming, whereas Kyle Anderson was named First Team All-AAC and was state qualifier in boys swimming. Connor Brady was named First Team All-AAC and was state qualifier in boys swimming. Matthew Bogan was named First Team All-AAC and was a state qualifier in boys swimming. Colin Brady was named First Team All-AAC and was a state qualifier in boys swimming. Whereas Jared Rothbauer was named First Team All-AAC in boys swimming. Ben Broccoli was named state qualifier in boys swimming. Alec Giatano was named state qualifier in boys swimming. Cameron Sarek was named qualifier in boys swimming. Whereas these accomplishments brought honor to themselves, their family, and their school, therefore it be resolved that these students be commended for their outstanding accomplishment and that these resolutions be spread upon the official minutes of the Canfield Board of Education and that copies be presented to them. Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to accept resolutions 86 through 99 as read, and apologize if I butchered any names.
You did.
You did an excellent job since that was just foisted on you at the last minute. Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich? Yes. Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanser?
Yes.
Mr. Bova?
Yes. We're at the most interesting part of our agenda, the comments. Do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, we do. Jomi Hanlon? No? Okay. Beth Sheets?
Hello.
Hi.
This is Victoria. You had spoke at our PTO meeting at Hilltop earlier this year, and you had said you would like to revisit that reconfiguration of Hilltop and CH Campbell. Where does that stand, and do you plan on implementing that configuration for the school year 2015-16?
And we're sitting at a point now in the school year where there would be no way we would be able to organize and help facilitate further conversations for 15-16. So that is not going to be happening next school year. And I'm not saying that the door is closed to that in the future, but right now we don't feel that it's the right fit for our system for next year.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, and I have another question regarding the busing. I saw, it was I think about a month ago, about the bus driver's contract, and I'd like to know where that stands, if there's a threat of strike, or I haven't heard anything else about it. This was, I think, in February, mid-February.
Right. We're going to continue to have a stand that we value the open line of communication, negotiation, the collective bargaining agreement, and the negotiations that lead to that agreement. We won't have a conversation or stances or statements in public, in the press, but I can tell you we're still having an open line of communication, and actually we're going to be going into executive session tonight to express to the board where we're at in the last round of negotiations. So that is still open, and we're still confident that there's an agreement out there, and we're hopeful that that can happen.
I would just like to say, as a parent, I mean, I know my bus drivers, and I value them, and I mean, they're carrying our precious cargo, so I value them immensely, and I hope that we can work something out with them.
Yeah, in no way, and I'm sure I don't want to speak for the board, but I will at this point. We value them as well,
okay.
and that I don't think that's ever, at least in our mind, ever been questioned, their value from our end.
Just as a parent,
No.
putting these little guys on the bus.
And we value your opinion as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to thank Mr. Maroney and Hilltop PTO Chair Julie Miller, and especially the parents and the children of Hilltop. We have an amazing family there. So supportive. We collected over 200 gloves with little messages the kids put in them. Everyone wrote kind thoughts to people that attend the Dorothy Day House. It's a house in Youngstown, Ohio. Provide meals for the homeless, less fortunate. And the kids were so excited about it, so I was just happy that they participated. Thank you, Mr. Jordan, for approving that also.
No matter what the topic is, people step forward in this town.
That was amazing.
It does the heart good being able to work here with you folks.
Oh, I had a little kindergartner come up and say, Mrs. Sheets, do you think they'll like these gloves? I mean, we have kindergartners talking about this, being, service-oriented. I think it's a great thing.
That's the thing. That's the piece that sometimes we forget. It's not the donations, but what they're learning with the process. And that's a wonderful way to do it, and at an early age like that, lifelong. Yeah, thank you for noticing that.
Happy to be part of it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is anyone else?
Have Al Schaefer.
Yeah, I wanted to speak about the busing issue. I'm not sure if I can in this form, but I just wanted to make you board aware of some of the things and the repercussions of those contract negotiations. One of the things we need to consider is not just money, but retention of highly qualified, professional, caring, local bus drivers that do a good job every day and need to be recognized for that. It's not always just about the money. And as the lady pointed out, the parents in the district are deeply concerned about this. It's their precious cargo. And to make us take a pay cut because you're going to cut the benefits is forcing people who are here and been here for a long time to seek employment elsewhere. There's no way they can continue to operate under this environment with no money. There's a lot of districts out there that are hiring drivers all the time. Almost everyone in the county that I know of is looking for drivers. Another thing you need to consider is that it's not easy to be a bus driver. There's a lot of qualifications. You're not going to fill them up overnight. Canfield has an ad in the paper right now to try to hire more sub-drivers. Obviously, they're not getting enough. So I just would like you to consider that aspect of it when you think about negotiating. And don't always think about the money. It really has an impact in the area, too. And that's why the parents passed a levy in the district. They wanted the best of the best. We have that now. It would be a shame to give it up. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And Ron Fankhauser.
Okay, my name is Ron Fankhauser, and I'm going to speak about something entirely different. I'm a docent at the Butler Museum of American Art in downtown Youngstown. The museum was founded in 1919 by Joseph Butler. It's free for everyone to come And in addition to that, we do outreach programs with all the schools except Canfield. So I can't remember if we ever did it with Canfield or not, but being from Canfield, it's kind of embarrassing that we don't do this. The outreach program can start at the first grade. In fact, I did a couple first grades this week. Normally we start with fourth graders. We come to the school, to the classrooms, we bring our disc and we might bring some supplies, example of a picture or a palette knife or, just some little objects to introduce them to the world of art in a museum. We ask them what they collect. It's very basic stuff, but they just love it. And then we bring them into the museum at a later date after they sort of know what to expect. So on the first visit, when we come to the schools, we teach them about landscape, portrait, seascape, genre, which is an everyday activity, and they love to say genre. You teach them that word, and then everything's a genre after that. It's a portrait, it's a genre. So the children are so enthusiastic. Holm does it, Borman does it, Niles does it. I was in Warren yesterday, and I don't know how we get this going again here in Canfield, but it's such a valuable thing. It's free to the schools, and if you can't afford the busing to bring the kids down to the museum, we have grants. So,
could I reach out to you now and have you give me an email or a call tomorrow?
Sure.
And maybe we can help facilitate that?
Great.
All right.
Absolutely.
Good.
Sure.
We have done it in the past, and
I thought we did, but
for whatever reason, change of administration, change of building leadership, whatever, it went by the wayside. But I remember the difference being back then they didn't bring discs, they actually brought pictures. Now you bring a disc. I understand.
Sometimes it's a lot to lug. But,
Yeah, true.
All the classrooms have a player, and we just put it on the wall, and the children respond, and they learn so quickly. And but we will.
Please.
Okay.
Please.
Thanks.
Thank you. And the Butler Art Museum is a real diamond in our valley. It is tremendous, yes. Thank you for what you do down there, by the way.
We have a Van Gogh there now. We're American art, but somebody loaned us a beautiful Van Gogh landscape. And we put it in the Impressionism room to show Van Gogh's influence on American artists. For example, the John Singer Sargent, the Robert Vaudeau in that room, the Poppies, you probably all know that one, and the Big Sargent. So he started all that rolling, and it's cool to see him with those other American guys.
Well, you heard tonight our administrators talk on the experiences and the talent that our youth have walking our hallways. So it's there. The love is there. And if to utilize your facility, I think it's an outstanding partnership. So please, honestly, reach out to us and give us some information. Thank you.
Under the heading of new business, number 1 is personnel and hiring.
Yes, thank you. It's recommended that the Board of Education hire the following licensed employee: Alicia Bobby, CHS Intervention Specialist, effective 15-16 school year at $50,656. And Alicia served, as you know, in our 8th grade as a tutor this past year.
Do I hear a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
Question, do we have a document on her?
She's an employee currently in our district, doing a fine job. Evaluations are solid.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
It's recommended that the Board of Education accepts a parental leave of Olivia Pettigrew, effective approximately April 13, 2015, following the use of sick leave and personal leave through June 8 of 2015. That's your exhibit number 1.
On the recommendation of the superintendent, do we have a motion to accept this?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Just notifying you folks tonight, there's going to be a transfer and a reassignment of Corinne Rock from CHS part-time custodian C.H. Campbell, part-time custodian, to CHS full-time afternoon custodian. That's going to be effective tomorrow, March 19, 2015.
And we don't need a motion for that.
We don't, we're just reassigning. Just wanted to make sure you folks had a heads up there.
Thank you.
Recommend the approval of the substitutes pending background checks. That's your exhibit number 2. And those licensed and classified employees are listed for you.
On the recommendation of the superintendent, do we have a motion to approve this list of substitutes?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
One question, can you clarify what an Ohio short-term license is?
That's an excellent question.
It's a good question, and I understand what that is. You have individuals out there that might not necessarily have teacher licensures, but they can be certified substitutes. There's training, there's activities that they have to go through and follow through, obviously a background check, being able to take over a classroom for a short period of time, day to day. It cannot be long term. That's what that is for.
So that person will qualify to fit the needs you have right
As
now?
long as background check is complete and all of those qualifications. Yes.
Thank you.
You just need a bachelor's. You could just need a bachelor's, right?
Yes, you can do it with a bachelor's. It doesn't have to be in teaching.
I do it.
Yep.
Roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
Recommend that you accept the resignation of an extracurricular activity employee, Dan DiGiacomo, CVMS Assistant Track Coach. That's going to be effective back in February 12, 2015. That's your exhibit number C.
On the recommendation of the superintendent, do we hear a motion to accept this resignation?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend hiring the list of extracurricular employees per your enclosed list. That's your exhibit number 4. Assistant middle school track coach, you have William Peters. That's 1 year experience. This is his first year. That is actually going to be a correction, $27.48 per the negotiated agreement. Out-of-district licensed extracurricular, that's volunteer tennis coach Larry Davis. And non-licensed extracurriculars, we have a head girls track coach Bob Altenhoff. Again, that's 2+ years experience at $61.83. Head boys track coach Keith Gorby at $51.53 with less than 2 years experience. We'll jump to volunteer assistant track coach Elizabeth O'Hara at no salary. And the following 3 are going to be paid out of a support organization: assistant track coach Kara Coupler and assistant wrestling coach Jason Napolitan at $430 each person, and assistant middle school football coach Tim Calhoun, at $500. Again, that's a correction from previously acted on.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, do I hear a motion, or do I have a motion to hire the extracurricular as per enclosed list?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
Do we know anything about this Larry Davis character?
Someone told me he's pretty good.
Okay.
So he's
Just
definitely
checking.
acting.
Yeah, he is a pretty good guy. Roll call?
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Bowden?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend and approve for approval of an out-of-state overnight field trip request. That's your exhibit number 5. High school band seniors to New York City, New York, May 15, 17 of this year, for the annual senior band trip, providing transportation and lodging are covered by an outside source.
On the recommendation of the superintendent, do we have a motion to approve this out-of-state overnight field trip?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I don't think they're looking for more chaperones, but if you're interested, I can talk to somebody.
You know, I thought about that. As soon as I read that, I'd love to chaperone, so put my name in there.
Okay.
Wait a minute, my son lives there. He can just meet him. It'd be a lot less expensive.
I get lost.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Okay, very interesting topic now we'd like to talk on. I think we're ready to recommend approval to next school year's calendar. That's your exhibit number 6.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, do I have a motion to approve the new calendar for 2015-2016?
So moved.
Second.
Now discussion.
Since the law has changed, we have to definitely bring this to you folks more than 30 days prior to the approval. That's why we started this conversation a couple months ago, if you remember. Definitely a couple areas I'd like to highlight for you. Again, first, with much conversation, not only in-house but throughout the county, the conversation about having school start before Labor Day. It's in front of you. We are definitely understanding that not only our youngsters but our families as a whole attend the Canfield Fair and appreciate what that does for a family. We think of family first, so we will be giving off our entire district Wednesday of Fair Week through Monday, Labor Day, but we will be starting school, at least it's recommended to you folks this evening. The staff will be starting Thursday, Friday, week prior, and then students will be starting the 31st, which would be Monday prior to Fair Week, or actually of Fair Week. And then attending school Monday and Tuesday, having every day of the fair off. Another area I'd like to highlight for you, we had a bit of conversation not only in-house but outside as well throughout the county. And there was some question in December whether to not only give Christmas Eve off, the 24th, but also give the 23rd off. We've come to the understanding there that we will be giving 23rd off for our staff and students. One other area I'd like to highlight for you is obviously we are going to be having a spring break again, and when we say spring break, a full week plus a day, which would then take us to June 9th as our student final day, and then the 10th for staff report day.
I have two concerns. We have 2 days and then we have a lot of days off. Are we losing anything, any education in that period of time, or do you feel those two days that we start are more or less just getting ready for school?
It's priming the pump. It's getting ready. It's passing out materials. It's having schedules set or changed. It's making sure students know where they're going. It's very important. And I think truly it's, when you take a look at it this year, with Labor Day on the 7th, it's the latest it could be. And having a mindset and understanding where we live and where our kids attend, that starting before Labor Day can bring some conversation. But at least knowing that we could possibly have a philosophy of starting prior to Labor Day, which would then even start us even sooner next year. So at least have a mindset on how we do things. And we, again, had conversations, and if you talk to many of the staff, a lot of the staff would even like to start sooner. Just because, you know, it sometimes puts our youngsters and staff behind the 8 ball when it comes to days of instruction. But again, we still value family. We still value where we live. We understand what needs to take place here. But long story short, we feel those 2 days are important to get started. Yes.
So it's educationally sound, we're
It's
not going to lose
educationally
continuity.
sound.
Okay.
If we start much sooner, we're going to need a bond issue to deal with air conditioning throughout the district.
Again, it's very interesting how resilient our folks are, but I would have to agree with you, yes.
One question about You said spring break, and I
Yes.
respect that. First of all, December 23rd, that's a county-wide day off. All of your peers and the different districts?
We've had conversations, but we also have conversations in-house on that as well. So we not only listen and talk at superintendent's meetings, but we talk with our people here too. And that was a day that, again, if we could manage it, that we would be able to make that move. That's why we did it.
Well, my other question was, is there discussion? You mentioned spring break. I'm going to suggest by looking at this that it's Easter vacation. Is there any discussion about a set spring break rather than jumping around every year around Easter?
Yes. But again, to get a dozen plus school systems to get on the same page with that, because we have to be cognizant about transportation, career and tech center, all of those are legitimate concerns for folks. But it's very interesting when you bring that topic up, that how many can be for it, how many can be against it, and right now it's just not palatable throughout the county.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
The other concern I had was, how are we going to convey this calendar to our parents of our children so they can plan their summers?
Well, it will be online tomorrow if it is adopted this evening. It will also be shared with building level administrators on Friday at our cabinet meeting. That will be distributed to staff immediately, and we'll also make sure that it's in district newsletters, not only the e-newsletter throughout the community, but also in building level newsletters as well. And believe it or not, you can probably imagine people have called already for next year's calendar probably a month ago. They're very interested in when graduation is. They're very interested in spring break. They're very interested in start of school year. So we will do what we can. Last but not least, all calls have done wonders for our system. We will put it out there that is online and recommend people to put it on the refrigerator door now.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but notice under your 15-16 test dates that you're covering the OAAs and the OGTs. Are OGTs sticking around, and did you miss Park because it's not going to be here anymore?
I won't touch on that at this point.
Okay.
I can only say that we fly the plane that's been built for us, and sometimes the engine's not included. So we'll, again, ride the wave. We'll stay up on the board.
Wow, that analogy went right over my head.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Anyhow,
Okay, can I say something?
no.
No, some parents, they were concerned about the starting date, and I don't think they realized how late Labor Day was and why you're doing that. So maybe if you put that little explanation, and then they're like, oh, okay, so you're sort of caught between a rock and a hard place.
We'll add that to the rhetoric for sure. It is there,
right,
for sure.
But that's why it has to.
Yeah. A lot of folks are saying, well, we're going to start and give more days before the test. That, you didn't hear that out of my mouth, because we still, again, understand that yes, we'd like to start earlier. You have someone here that'd love to go year-round, but I mean, that's down the road. I understand that, but it's we again have to understand where we live and what our families are asking for.
Anything else? Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanser?
Yes.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Did you bring that over off your desk?
I didn't bring it over on my desk. You want me to go get it? I can.
This just came hot off the press due to the transition at the county auditor's office. The rate resolution, though, that they're asking us to approve, it's the same millage as we had last year. As you know, nothing new was approved. The emergency levy rate didn't change, so the document is coming, but it's still 59.9 mills total vote, or total mills. 4.9 of those are inside mills.
How many?
Unvoted. 4.9
4.9.
out of the 10 that we're allowed to share. So there is no change there if you want to adopt the resolution. Yeah. It'll be Resolution 102-2015. And the millage is listed on the second page, Schedule A.
Exactly the same as last year.
Exactly the same.
Well, do I have a motion to approve the rate resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Now discussion.
Any reason not to approve this?
It's required to be approved by April 1st, and I really think we'd want the auditor to assess that millage, so no reason.
Good idea.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend the board accepts as per the enclosed list here, exhibit number 7, the donations for the month of March. Totaling $1,013.42.
That's the smallest donation sheet we've had this year, isn't it?
It is.
What was the target based on purchases and then assigning them to schools?
Yeah, the receipts and mentioning what school you're from.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, can we approve the donations as per enclosed list?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Well, the can we, is that what we're voting on?
Yeah,
Or will we?
Oh,
Just ask.
either one, whatever you want to vote on. Roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Bova?
Yes. Superintendent's report.
I'd like to highlight a few things.
Good.
First and foremost, difficult winter, to say the least. And just want to show our appreciation and thank all of our staff getting kids to and from school safely, staff making it to work, parents understanding that we start looking at road conditions and temperature 4:30 in the morning. Just ask my wife and daughter, they'll tell you, because phone calls are coming in pretty early. We are very fortunate that we only used 5 calamity days this year. We use a couple 2-hour delays, but just want to thank our parents and staff to understand that we value education. We value student safety, staff safety first and foremost, but we value each day. The productivity that happens in our schools are second to none, and we really appreciate folks understanding that importance and having the same philosophy there. So I want to thank everyone getting through the tough winter, and hopefully we don't turn around, but hopefully we're in the right direction. Again, I think the principals mentioned it, the testing and the appreciation for all of our staff to work through those testings and our parents to understand that we might not necessarily agree with everything in front of us today. But we understand that we have a job to do in our school system, and we will carry that out ethically, and we're bound by law. We might not necessarily, again, agree with everything, but understand we have a job to do, and we'll continue to do so. Want to let you folks know that special services from the Ohio Department of Education will be visiting Canfield within the next month to a review of our special services department. This is not annual, but it does happen periodically to all school systems throughout the state. And our special services department has been preparing for this along with central office staff, and we're confident that we're going to do a fine job, and we're, again, understanding if they see that we can grow and they have a recommendation for us, we'll understand that and we'll move forward. But that's going to be happening, and I'll update you folks when that time comes. With the help of Mr. Tanser and his worker bees, the indoor facility is progressing, and that it's almost complete. Barry, what do you think? 80% way done, maybe more than that, and we're just right around the corner to have that complete. Our kids are using it, and with the winter, like I said, we've had in the spring, getting a lot of use out of it. So that's progressing nicely. If you've been on the high school ground softball field, our ladies will have, again, a much needed improvement this year to dugouts and fencing, and they're looking forward to participating on that new site.
Those two items you just mentioned, those are all donated too.
All donated from local individuals and groups, and so much appreciated. Just unbelievable. One other item I'd just like to touch on, and hopefully you folks have had an opportunity. I know I sent it to you, and I think you've responded. We had a position letter from our office, but also I put it online and put it on our website about testing, how we understand that the need is there. We're not against assessments. We're not against benchmarking our youth to see where they are and how we need to grow and what we need to do for intervention. The question that we have right now with the assessment period is the period of the year that it is, and it's condensed into one time frame. And also the amount of time away from instruction. So we created and formulated a letter and put it out, and we've gotten some pretty good feedback there, and it's what our beliefs are. And I just wanted maybe some feedback from you folks. I mean, did you want to touch on that at all? Or
I've commented to you about this before. I think these park tests are doing more damage than good to our district. I've had a couple of stories just this week about children that are so stressed out that Nancy told me one that a young child in first grade doesn't want to go on to second, third, or fourth because of the tests. A young fellow in sixth grade math was worried that if he didn't pass the test, would he be able to go to seventh grade? We don't need to stress kids at this level. Now, I realize that the Ohio Department of Education realized their mistake, and per the superintendent of the state of Ohio said that these will not count against our kids, against our district, against our teachers, or anything this year, because I think, as Mr. Mullane was telling me, as he was writing the instructions on how to give the test, he got an email that it was changing. I really would like to see this board accept your position statement about the inordinate amount of testing and how it does not benefit our educational process. I'd like to see us accept this as a board position statement, because I feel it's really important right now for us to come out strongly in favor of education, but against the style in which is being mandated right now. I will be going to the Board Leadership Institute the first weekend in May, and I'd like to be able to take this down. Some of us had had discussions that we are 35th in the state in terms of school districts out of 610, and I would like to find school districts that are very similar to us and talk to them about the possibility of opting out of these exams. I know it's against the law, but I think Governor Kasich will pay attention if we have 100 school districts that feel the same way, especially if he's going to run for higher office. I think he'll pay attention to it. So I think the first step in this is I would strongly recommend that we consider adopting this as a board position statement. I would ask you to read it, but it's very long. Everybody here has read it. For those of you out there that haven't, it's on the website under the superintendent's page.
The one piece, and it's the final paragraph to it, you know, local control was always discussed when next generation, new generation testing was presented. And it was going to be allotted to the districts how and and when we assess our kids. That was one of the first pieces that was stripped out. And that's a big concern for us. We're on block scheduling at the high school. That piece alone adds so much more to the conversation than many other districts are affected by. And in the piece, we talked about our strategic planning initiative and our goals of our school system and our core beliefs. Nowhere in our core beliefs does it mention anything about testing and test results. That's important because it's not a board decision, that strategic planning, even though we had representation, administration, even though we had representation, but we had staff, and 51% of the participants out of 36 people were from the community and had no ties to the school. That spoke volumes, those 2 days of strategic planning, because we heard from community what you wanted out of your school. And nowhere out of those 10 beliefs did it say anything about test scores. None. And now, what we're faced with. The one piece that you mentioned, and you're right, the state came back with not holding schools accountable. The one piece that they did leave in, performance index. And if you know what performance index is, it's how our youngsters do at their ability level. So we could have youngsters working at ability level, below average, above average, and they give a point total. They did not remove that piece. So when you take a look at how young districts are doing, yes, they might not opt out, but they'll refusal to take the test. And we have some in our district, many others throughout the state, where parents have refused their youngsters to take these assessments. No, they don't hold that underneath of the staff member right now, but the district is still viewed that way because performance index is still tied to it. So,
Can I quote
talking
you?
out of both sides of their mouth there.
Can I quote you in a conversation we had about the performance index? And if it goes against us, if we get an F, I will be very proud of that F because we have done the right thing.
You made that statement, I did not.
Oh.
I will be proud of it. I'm proud that we actually have a community that understands and educates themselves on it and understands that we're trying to be as transparent as we are with this. I mean, we're not trying to hide behind anything. Hopefully, people see that.
Well,
that's all.
I think our step to let people know that, especially our community, would be to make this a board position statement and publish it as such, so I can take it to Columbus and let them know. It's time we stepped out on this instead of everybody grumbling behind the scenes. Somebody has to take leadership.
I'm fine with you sharing it. I'm fine with you. I put my name on it, so I'm fine with that. I just don't want it to be viewed as though we're anti-assessment altogether. It's the amount, it's the time away from instruction, it's how they use the tests, it's who's creating the tests. There's a lot of questions there. But yeah,
We're not anti because I believe you already scheduled OAAs and OGTs for next year.
That's correct.
How can we be against testing?
You still got a family to raise.
Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to that effect that we accept the position statement that our superintendent wrote and put in the on the web page as the board position statement, and that we make future steps with the state with this document evaluated, and we make those steps accordingly.
You got all that? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you can summarize in 3 words.
Do we have a second for that?
Second.
Excuse me, second.
Discussion.
Weren't you going to research something and bring it to us this month?
The research piece was, this is the first step in this, the research piece is looking at the districts that are in the top 100 in the state, of which we're 36, which was based on performance index.
That one was.
Yeah. What we talked about, this is easier said than done, but what we talked about is First of all, how much state aid do these folks get, similar to us? The other thing is, how do they feel about the park assessments? And there was another criterion that I can't remember at the moment.
Well, I know the one area that I'm still very concerned about is the piece on charter and how that accountability piece is just not there with funding.
That's another issue.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, it's all a matter of starting to gather data. I'm hoping that the Ohio School Board Association will have some of this data, or if they don't, they should. And when we talk to them, I think it'll be, perhaps Attorney Britton might have access to some of this data as well. So I'll question him later.
We've offered this to legislators and also for testimony if they would like to read it or offer it at the State House as well.
As far as I know, our two legislators are in favor of this approach, our representative and our senator.
If I could, I'd like to throw my 2 cents into this, because you and I have discussed this, and if you truly looked at the days our children are in school, the days this year that were set aside for testing, that if you sit down and look at that, I supported Alex's statement immediately when you put that on there, because my concern was there's so many days of testing, and with the evaluations and everything of how you do, now the staff is also concerned about their scores, where their scores are going to be. So not only is it an astronomical number of days that we are testing, but are we truly educating our kids, or are we teaching our kids to take tests to hit grade levels, to pass these tests, to perform it? You know, I'm not into the testing. I mean, if you truly look at it, it's scary the number of days that there's tested, and then you think of all the time that is spent preparing these kids to take the test so you can meet state standards. It concerns me that are they truly getting as much education as they did in the past, because there's so much emphasis on testing now.
And it's the time frame and the amount of tests during that time frame. Personal experience. 8th grade daughter. Getting her up in the morning obviously is more difficult than others at times.
It's not going to get better.
I know. But you look at her in the morning and you say, all right, we're ready to go. What's going on today? Another test. How many is this now? She explains. You're not your peppy self. Take another test. That's just personal experience. I'm not saying that's happening in every home, but it's happening, and it's too bad. It's too bad, because she loves school.
I don't think there are any kids excited about the testing.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty safe to say nobody's excited.
Right. I think it's truly put a lot of stress on our children this year and our staff.
It's not only testing. Now, Lee Fry and I have both been around education a long time, and we've watched the development of this. And it was started out with accountability, and pretty soon the state takes over more and more of the school system and says, you will teach this, and this is how you will teach it, and then you're going to test it this way. Every school system is different. Every school, every community is different. Every community wants a different kind of school system, yet they want to have one kind. Fits everyone, and that's not good.
And I read that on the state board, there's 15 people on the state board. 14 have no kids in public school. So now, and Casey appointed 9.
Yeah,
there used to be 6.
We have Bob Hagan now.
Now there's 15. Now only 1 has been in public school. And they're going to make decisions for public schools. That to me is truly amazing. And Mr. Bove is right. We have seen so many things come down the pike. And these tests, that just drains kids. They come into your class after a test. Now they've been tested all morning. You have them in the afternoon, and they're totally drained. They just are. And so, you're trying to teach them, and you're trying to do things, but it's, I don't blame them. Yeah, they are. And you just feel bad for those kids that are taking all those tests. And what they do, they add more tests. And now, with this new test, they're saying, well, if you don't pass it, you can't go up to another grade. What kind of stress is that on a kid? All my friends are in first grade. Oh, but you may not go to second grade. Hey, enjoy school.
I'd like to ask one other question. How's your relationship going at home? Because my wife, the high school English teacher, isn't saying much when she comes in the door. The dogs get out of her way.
So it's just unbelievable that we have people that are making rules that aren't in public education. We're in public education.
Not only do they make the rules, then they change the rules. You learn how to play the game, you learn all the rules, you get it all in place, and they change it. Then you got to learn a new set of rules. You got to start all over again.
Like
it's
fishing.
Extremely frustrating.
It's like go fish. I throw the line in. Wait a minute, I'm not getting a bite. Let's try something different.
Yep.
And something different comes in an email when you're preparing to go fish. Now all of a sudden you have to get a bigger boat or do something different. It just doesn't work. They just change.
This is a very open wound that I started, so I'd like to call a question to the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mrs. Lacey?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Bova?
Yeah, absolutely.
Might I add just one more thing?
Oh.
No, this is it. No.
This is it? No, that's not going to be it.
Okay, this is for next month. As part of this whole process, again, I think, I'm going to speak for myself, but I think many of you feel the same way. I've had it with school funding. I've had it. I mean, our folks passed a levy last year, and what do we get from that levy but a $340,000 additional cut in our funds over 2 years? I think it's also time to stop sitting by quietly and accepting that, and that was the other piece, I think, of that whole thing, is about the cuts. I would like us to think about that. I'd like you to perhaps prepare some sort of a position document for our next meeting, because I think that it's things that our community needs to know. They need to know that when a child leaves this district, that there's money coming out of their pocket that's going, and our community did not vote a levy to send money somewhere else. They voted it to stay here, and there's got to be something illegal about that. I'm looking at you, Brent. I don't know, but I would like to hear the legality of them taking our voted money, and everybody voted for it to stay here, and it leaves. So I'd like to make that request for you for our next board meeting.
Well, as I understand it, it's not legal.
Yes.
But we're doing it anyway.
That's right.
Right.
It's not legal. Now, what court of law would ever, in any other situation, tell somebody it's not legal, allow them to do it, and not do anything?
The Ohio Supreme Court.
Ohio Supreme Court's done it. And as I understand, in West Virginia, they had the same kind of thing, only the West Virginia court ordered the state troopers in to arrest the legislators. And all of a sudden, it changed real quick. I didn't think they didn't like their days behind bars for some reason. And 4 days later, they had a new funding system.
Does anybody have one more thing?
No.
No, that was a simple request.
Okay. At this time, we're going to go into executive session, and I'll tell you what executive session is. It's a private session with just the board, the superintendent, and the assistant superintendent, and it's to review negotiations with public employees and to consider the employment of a public employee. And when we come out of this, we reconvene. And you're welcome to come back in, and we do sometimes discuss things, sometimes we don't. I don't know what will come up. I don't think we take any action after executive session, but you are welcome to stay, but you got to stay out there. And then we'll tell you when we're done. Okay? Second.
Do you have a vote for that?
We need a motion.
We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Executive session.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Lacey?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
You just can't behave, can you?